Salisbury Center, we are ready for our next fight. Making his way to the cage and fighting out of the red corner, it's Jimmy Brashears.
And we are back. Brent, you seem to have something to say about Jimmy Brashears here. How about you start us off?
Jimmy Brashears, 3-0 out of Crazy 88. What can I say about this kid? He's a young, up-and-coming kid, very, very talented. Out of Crazy 8 Gym, you can see Coach Del Bruges there. He's been around the UFC and in different huge promotions, Shogun around this area, and a great guy to have in his corner. And man, really excited to see Jimmy come out and try to stay undefeated, because this kid really coming in 3-0. And this is a sleeper fight, Chris. This is one of those fights that kind of went under the radar in regards to the promotion of the card. But make sure you guys are watching this fight, because this is going to be nothing but fireworks. I know both of these guys are good grapplers, and sometimes when you have two good grapplers go at it, then it ends up being a powerful striking battle on the feet. We'll see what we get.
Absolutely. You know, catchweight, one of the most underappreciated divisions here within Cagezilla. Jimmy Brashears, one of the front runners in it.
Let's get Chris down to bring in our blue corner.
And his opponent, making his way to the cage and fighting out of the blue corner, it's Robert Straight.
And it's a shock, Brent, that, as you said, this is one of the less publicized fights on the card, because Robert Straight is definitely someone that should be a household name. Coming up through Cagezilla, currently at a 2-1 record out of 9 Realms MMA. This 21-year-old is yet again a complete package. We saw him throwing jumping roundhouse kicks in round 3 the last time that he was here.
You know what? Robert, the Golden Boy Straight, is a guy that I really had my eye on since I first seen him fight. He's a young kid. He goes balls to the wall every time he steps in here. He had a barn burner with our main event title fight here tonight, Wilson Melgar, for the 165-pound title. He's working his way down to the lightweight division here eventually. He says now tonight fighting at a catchweight 160 pounds. But the Golden Boy is coming out here to not only get back in the win column, but to set the record straight. He told us on our interview here at Cagezilla, on Cagezilla Unchained. You guys can see all our interviews, by the way, on Cagezilla Unchained on our Cagezilla YouTube channel, and from a lot of the fighters from tonight. But what he told me was he's here to set the record straight and rectify the wrongs and let Jimmy know that 9 realms don't come to play and Xavier don't count. He said Jimmy beat one of his teammates, Xavier, and he's here to right that wrong. Let's send it down to Chris to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the Cagezilla catchweight of 160 pounds. It is brought to you by our friend Mike Pignoni, the defense attorney of Northern Virginia. And now, starting out, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5'6" and weighing in at 160 pounds, fighting out of Crazy 88 with a record of 3 wins and no defeats, it's Jimmy Jimbo Brashears. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5'8" and weighing in at 159 pounds, fighting out of 9 realms with a record of 2 wins and only 1 defeat, it's Robert, the Golden Boy Straight. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in Cagezilla catchweight of 160 pounds. It is brought to you by Mike Pignoni, and your referee is Michael Dolman.
Oh, don't blink, guys. Both of these boys are young, hungry, and talented.
At the same time, I do think this one is going to go the distance. I don't think this is over in the first round.
Really?
I think that both of these guys have the potential to take it deep just because of how evenly matched they are, Brent. More than anything else, we're going to see explosive shots on either side for sure, but it's already been proven time and time again. Robert Straight can take this one deep.
Nice. I like you going out on the limb there and making a prediction. All
Well,
right.
you know me and my predictions here,
yeah,
Brent.
yeah, exactly. Usually happens the direct opposite.
Yeah.
We'll
Maybe I'm
see.
just hoping for an early night, and it almost was an early night there for Robert Strait. Inverted almost into a power bomb. Now his legs are tied on up, and we are seeing Brashears attempt to navigate on top.
Well, you know what? Robert said he wanted to. He was eager to test the grappling of Jimmy Brashears, and he's going to get just that. He said his teammate didn't have any grappling, but he does. But he better start doing something here.
I think Robert Strait has realized that Jimmy Brashears is passing his grappling test.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Another wrenching takedown, tough position, almost gives him the back there. I like the fact that Robert Strait's immediate reaction is to try to go for a headlock. Unfortunately, he's yet again back to the canvas, and we are seeing Brashears get into full guard, attempting to push past and get into ground and pound.
Wow, yeah, Strait having to accept guard here and try to maintain some sort of a control position, because Brashears really showing a little dominance in the grappling department and his ground and pound, man. I'd love to see a guy who is making guys pay in the grappling realm, because if you're just holding them, you're just holding them. But if you're hitting them, the ref is really starting to take a close look at this, and either way, you're exerting your dominance and you're showing the judges, hey, I'm winning this fight, versus just laying on top and holding.
Yeah, and I think that Robert Strait's ring awareness is strong enough that he's got to realize he can't stay in this position forever. Not only is he taking damage, this is looking bad for him as well.
Right, right. Yeah, this is not where Strait wants to be. But, you know, Strait's been in wars, man. I don't assume he's going to crumble under this pressure. I think he's going to weather this storm and possibly start to create a little offense for himself. I see him controlling the wrist there, protecting most of the big shots from the top. But he's got his head to the cage. That's never a great place to be. Head to the cage, taking blows.
At the same time, Brashears is having to brace himself in some very, very tiring positions. He's oftentimes supporting a lot of the weight of the bottom half of Strait alongside himself just to try to get the leverage necessary to actually ground and pound. And so, yes, he's coming away with the advantage here, but this is going to be a real test now of the red corner's conditioning if he can't end it here in round number 1.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know if he's gassing necessarily from the top, but he is expending some energy with that ground and pound like I was talking about. Thought Robert was going to swing into a nice armbar there, but looks like he's going to just finish the round on bottom, possibly, or more than likely, Jimmy taking his first round.
Yeah, and I think that at this point, Robert Strait just has to accept, hey, lost round, was unable to answer back against that ground and pound, that grappling. But I didn't take enough damage to be out of this one just yet. I'm not that tired. I can look for a reset neutral and just try to find a new pathway forward. Certainly is not out of this one just yet, but we are right now seeing why Jimmy Brashears is 3-0.
Yeah, no, he's exuding nothing but dominance in the ground department, in the ground and pound department, and the Golden Boy gonna have to find an answer here in rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah, looking more like the reddened boy right now. Definitely taking a lot out of him, trying to struggle from below. And for as much as I was talking about how Brashears was often in tiring positions, you know, supporting that weight, it's very hard to keep somebody as tenacious as Brashears from navigating past that full guard. And in kind, Robert Strait's going to need to try to figure out a new way out of this one. He is standing up for the entirety of this corner. And because of that, I'm hoping to see more stand-up as well out of him in this round.
Yeah, I'd like to see some nice stand-up. It went right to the ground there in the beginning of that first round. And I know both boys know how to throw down on the feet, so let's see if they bring it here in this second round.
And it could be the case that Brashears is saying, hey, you know, I do want to finish this. I don't want to go through all 3 rounds. I do want to find another angle in. That being said, immediately he is going to initiate a lockup here. Currently, it's an overhook for Robert Strait to try to bring this back. And unfortunately, he's going to get swept right back into full guard. And I don't think that Robert Strait wanted the second round to start the same way that the first one did.
Man, Robert was really, you know, speaking a little bit about his teammates grappling, but he is also getting out-grappled by Jimmy Brashears. And he's got to find an answer. He cannot accept guard. He cannot lay here in this second round with his head to the cage like he did in the first.
Yet again, we're in that position where he's crumpled up. He's keeping those legs high. He's trying to get Brashears to expend energy or otherwise allow him a bit of respite out of this guard situation. But yet again, it's head to the cage like you talked about. I love the fact that Brashears is not only laying in the offense, but he is putting it straight into perhaps the single worst position you could be in outside of immediately getting submitted.
Right, yeah. I mean, Robert, for the most part, is staying safe, but not a good look for the judges, and certainly expert referee, coach, or official Michael Dolman's got a close eye on this one.
Yeah, Straight's clearly keeping his wits about him. He knows when he has to turtle up. He knows when he can get back a little bit of time to try to keep the torsos together. So this isn't a matter of him just wilting under the pressure. This isn't a matter of Robert Straight being taken out of it and taking too much damage, but you're right in front of the judges. You know that they're all putting on the scorecard exactly what's happening here and now. They've been very good about their decisions, and we are seeing that this is being made easy by Brashears in the amount of dominance he's showing.
Yeah, and you know what? He's staying busy. That's one thing. I mean, from the top, he's staying real busy. Oh, caught an up kick there for.
Yeah, Straight needed to try to leverage that position there. Had his legs really heavily squeezed, so even when you're that compressed, it's hard to get good leverage.
Oh.
But that being said, there may be a way out of this one.
He opened up a cut on Brashears with those elbows.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. Brashears happy. Just get back on the feet. Try to clap straight over guard. Doesn't quite get there again. Getting the blood all over the chest. Robert Straight trying the best he can to wrench this one back, but he has been on his back for 2.5 minutes now.
God, 30 seconds left. He's got to do a little bit more, even though he did get some strikes. He opened up Brashears, and Brashears wearing a little bit more damage, surprisingly. But I think at the end of the day, he's been scoring more and scoring more from the top.
Yeah, this is an incredibly active set of moves from the top. You know, a little bit of a contrast from what we saw between Cody Howard and Randy Myers. And Cody came along with that one. I imagine that with that second bell ringing, that is two even more definitively strong wins of rounds over to the red corner. And now the burden of Robert Straight is to end it.
Yeah, both young athletes with expert coaching. We got Coach Josh Thompson from Nine Realms trying to probably instill some seriousness and some urgency into his student, the Golden Boy. And you got Coach Del Bruges over there with Jimmy, wearing quite a bit some damage, might I add, on his face. Trying to instill some confidence in him, tell him he's up probably 2-0 going into this third round, but he's got to keep his composure. This fight is not over whatsoever. The Golden Boy doesn't look like the one who's been laying on the ground the whole time. It looks like Brashears actually is, but in my opinion, like I say, I think it might be 2-0 Brashears heading into the third. The Golden Boy's really got to turn it around.
Yeah, some people just support damage a little bit more clearly than others, and I think that this is the case here for Brashears, you know, getting opened up like that. He's also breathing a little bit heavier. We're going to see whether or not that actually translates into perhaps an angle, an opening here for the Golden Boy out of the blue corner.
Yeah, both guys showing some heart here, coming into this third round, bouncing around. Let's see if they can get something going on the feet. This fight has been taking place mostly on the ground. I'd like to see some nice strikes come off from both of these guys.
This is the longest we've seen both of them on their feet for a while here, Brent. No attempt at a takedown. Brashears finally going to find an opening, trying to go for the two-piece, and immediately gets the scoop as well. And this is an unfortunate situation. Yet again, Robert Straight is guarding up properly, but the fact he's accepting guard like this is going to not reflect well on the scorecard. He needs to try to find a reversal here and a real change-up from what we see in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, you know, fortunately for Brashears and unfortunately for the Golden Boy, I think Jimmy's content to spend the next 2 minutes right here in the center of the cage, scoring some little shots and taking this fight to the house. Golden Boy cannot sit here with his feet crossed and expect to win this fight. He's got to throw something up, even though they're slippery. Arm bars, triangles, might even have to you know, do something desperate, turn his back to get up, or get those butterfly hooks in, do something. But he cannot lay here in closed guard and expect to win this fight.
Yeah, the problem is that we've almost seen the prototype of this fight with Randy Myers versus Cody Howard right before this. And Brent, what do we see there? Randy Myers eventually feeling, hey, I got to get out of this position, turned his back, and every time that happened, he was taken down again.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what happens here. We got just about a minute left here in the third and final round. Jimmy has been really getting in on those takedowns at will and giving him some punches from the top for good measure. Not to say that the Golden Boy hasn't been scoring from the bottom also, because you can see that damage that Brashears wearing on his brow and his face.
Yeah, Brashears, though, as you said, is very happy to get on top and just kind of lay here. And this is still an incredibly active attempt at advancing past guard as well. Let's not take anything away from what the red corner is doing. He's getting takedowns because he knows that Robert Strait can't do anything except for sit here and hope to cover up. And yet again, there's a stand-up, there's the claps in. And Brashears is just not feeling pressure at all in this situation.
Yeah, let's see what happens here to finish up this round. But I know Coach Josh Thompson probably frustrated, yelling there. He's got to throw up a triangle. He's got to put the feet on the hips. He's got to do something other than what he's been doing for the past 2 rounds, because, man, Jimmy's going to eke out this win on top positionally, and you know, the judges see that as dominance. So that's a heck of a fight right there. Great job. Both guys showing some great emotion and showing some mutual respect. Great fight from both guys.
Yeah, I love the fact that we get that respect, but honestly, Robert Strait was tested here, and I don't think that he rose to the occasion. Jimmy Brashears, once again, showing that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And he managed to get takedowns all 3 rounds, stay on top for the entire time. And the fact that he is going to keep an undefeated record here, going 4-0, shows the pedigree that he has coming out of Crazy 88.
Yeah. Got great coaching. Crazy 88 had 3 guys here on the card. I think ultimately one had his opponent pull out, but now have two guys from the Crazy 88 Academy, and yeah, we're happy to have them. Jimmy Brashears showing some serious grappling talent, much like our previous fight with Cody Howard. Just really able to get in on those takedowns, and was able to maintain control, you know, Chris, because a lot of guys can get takedowns, but can you keep the control on the ground is what it ultimately ends up coming down to. And I don't know if he was just so heavy on top, or if Robert was just so used to, I know he does a lot of jiu-jitsu competitions, if he was just so used to going to that guard position. But man, Robert was held down pretty much for 3 rounds. Jimmy was on top. I'm pretty sure I know how the judges will tilt this one, but I've seen some funky stuff. So let's send it down to Chris to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Judge 1 scores about 30-27. Judge 2 scores about 29-28. And Judge 3 scores about 30-27. All in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. Out of the red corner, it's Jimmy Brashears.
Congratulations to Jimmy Brashears, 4-0, representing Crazy 88. I'm so happy that both of these fighters embraced at the end of that fight, you know, because it shows that's fire not dying within Robert Strait whatsoever. He's coming back 2-2. I'm sure that we're going to see more of them.
Yeah, excited to have Brashears back. Excited for him to keep that O on the end of.
Like and subscribe to Cagezilla.